We get paid more than our lifestyle expenses every month when we don't work. So you can imagine how much we make when we do work. And so we work with who we want, when we want, where we want.
That's a life-changing amount. Agents thrive to do that actively. Imagine making that passively, how your life would look.
Okay, if I can get myself into this mess, I can get myself out. I am a really good negotiator, so I'm not going to declare bankruptcy. I declared to myself that I would not declare bankruptcy and that I would not allow a property to be foreclosed. 10 years ago, I was middle six figures in debt. There was a day ago where I had $1 to make it through the entire day. I did not eat breakfast, and I thought, this $1 that I have, I'm going to go to Burger King near me, and I'm going to get one of those $1 burgers, and that'll be the food for the rest of the day. And so I figured I'll eat it in the middle of the day so I'm not that hungry, and then I'll just go to sleep slightly hungry instead of really hungry.
Welcome to the Active Pending Sold podcast, the ultimate resource for real estate agents aspiring to elevate their game and multiply their closings. Whether you're a newcomer or a seasoned pro, this is the platform for mastering today's competitive real estate market. Your hosts, Mike Smuts and William Rojas, are here to provide you with unparalleled insights. With years of experience and a passion for excellence, they'll bring you expert interviews and actionable strategies each week. From lead generation to negotiation skills, they've got you covered. So, if you're ready to take your real estate career from active to pending to sold, you won't want to miss a single episode. Now, let's dive in.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Active Pending Sold podcast. My name is Mike Smuts. I'm here with my co-host, William Rojas, and a very special guest, Tai Desa. So Tai built a big real estate business, and I wanted to have him on to talk a little bit about his story because he was able to take real estate and turn that into other methods like investing and everything. He just released a new book. So I texted him and said, hey, you want to come on the podcast and tell your story? So without further ado, Tai, can you introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us a tiny bit about your story. Give us the grand overview.
Sure, Mike. Thank William and Mike for having me. So, long story short, I grew up in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, the oldest of 11 children. Graduated first in my class from Notre Dame High School there. Went on to the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. Graduated there. Elon Musk was one of my fellow classmates, and
Really?
then joined the Navy out of college as I wanted to see the world, and I was an intelligence officer in the U.S. Navy. 3 combat deployments, and then decided that being overseas and away from family and friends was not for me. And also, I have an entrepreneurial streak in me, did not like taking orders. And so I decided to become a full-time real estate investor. And it didn't take long for me to squander the $125,000 I had saved up. And so after squandering that money, I went into about $500,000 worth of debt, and then I defaulted all of that debt in the Great Recession, when the housing bubble burst. And in 2008, I found a loophole in the Pennsylvania real estate code that allowed me to get my real estate broker's license immediately. And so I just opened up my own brokerage. And I didn't know what I was doing. A year later, I was introduced to Keller Williams Real Estate, joined there in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, built up a real estate team. And then also, because there were many pre-foreclosures and foreclosures, built up a short sale negotiation business. And we successfully negotiated hundreds of short sales across 6 states as part of business to supplement, and at times do better than the real estate agent business.
You still
Then
have the short sale company, or is that?
The short sale company exists. In the end of 2014, I gave my shares to my business partner. So he owns it. It's called Significa Short Sales. And they
I've
are
worked
very
with
good at
them.
what they do. And so even though I am extremely skilled and knowledgeable in the area of short sales and pre-foreclosure sales, it is not something I want to do. Just because you're good at something doesn't mean you should do it. I found there are other talents of mine that I can lean into that I can monetize much better.
Nice.
Yeah. So then I ran the Keller Williams state office in Allentown as both what they call a team leader, that's a CEO, as well as the broker of record. Did that simultaneously, and then my wife and I decided to move to Knoxville, Tennessee, So we kept our real estate agent business in Pennsylvania and moved to Knoxville, and we've been buying fixer-upper houses and renting them out. While we're here, we have our own brokerage here as well, and I enjoy writing books and adding value to others. And I really want to encourage people to get into being an entrepreneur and becoming financially free through real estate, whether it's as a realtor or as an investor, both. That- That's what I enjoy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. So you survived 2008, which is pretty cool to hear. And then as far as your portfolio, how big is that? If you don't mind me asking, is there a lot, like you have a lot of houses or like, what
We
does it
currently
look
have
like right now?
we own 10 houses. We have a tremendous amount of equity. Some are free and clear. Um, I have done personally as a real estate investor about between 200 and 300 deals in
Hmm.
my career. Something I
Wow.
did a lot in my younger days, long before I met my wife Amira, is I wholesaled and flipped a lot of houses,
Nice.
and learned a lot of lessons too. And one of the things I learned is that when you flip or wholesale, you if you do it right, you create cash, but you don't create wealth. Wealth is
Mm,
different than cash. So, what we do is we do consider potential flips, but we really like to buy and hold.
nice.
Wow.
And so I guess you're more into long-term rentals than short-term, or is there a combination of both? Are you guys looking into getting into short-term or?
William, we currently have long term. We did furnish one of our properties a couple, like 2.5 years ago. We fully furnished it, and we were putting it out there for short term rentals. And the
Nice.
demand in Knoxville is so high. We immediately received two applications from two different parties who want to do 1 year leases at the rates that we were asking for short term
Mhm.
rentals. So we just picked one, and he's actually still there.
That's
Um,
crazy.
about 2.5 years later, and so
Jeez.
we also are planning. We've made some offers. Of course, as investors, we don't come in at full price. Oftentimes, we've made some offers in the Panhandle of Florida, particularly the 30A section of Western Florida, because we want to buy a second home there, use it as a short-term rental. So we're looking to buy
Nice.
a home there.
Will is
Yeah.
actually from Florida, like
I'm actually in.
The
Yeah,
Orlando
yeah,
area, right? Am I wrong?
excellent.
Yeah, great short-term rental market for sure, because 70
Oh,
million people come here for a vacation, so it definitely helps, but I don't blame you because you're probably gonna be close to the beach, I assume, right?
Yeah, we would want to be within probably 3 blocks from the beach.
Right, right.
so are you
Yeah, that makes
planning to buy a place, short term rent it when you're not there, and then use it as a
That's the
vacation?
plan. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so something
It'll be
nice.
like
you,
a
yeah,
forever home.
yeah, that's awesome. It's something you mentioned during your story there, Ty, which I thought was super interesting. You said you built a team here in PA. What took you from deciding to leave that team and the business you've built already and take your family to Tennessee?
Um, my wife Amira is from Knoxville, Tennessee,
Okay.
and she has parents, grandparents, cousins, uncles, aunts, and even people you call auntie who are not quite the aunt. Lots of relatives here, and she wanted to move back. And we have twin girls. At the time we moved here, they were just a few months old. They're now 5, and we just wanted to be here. And through following a lot of, frankly, the Keller Williams real estate models, we can operate a business virtually. So we still run a Pennsylvania-based business, but we're rarely ever there in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Would you say that the being a real estate agent and building the business the way you did created opportunities that you wouldn't have had if you weren't in real estate?
Oh, yeah, because you get to choose your own schedule. You still have to work, although you choose the hours that you work.
Right.
And I see earning commissions as a realtor as means to an end. It's intended to acquire investments and also create potentially other businesses out of it. So that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely. What about as far as, you said you had, do you have a property in Tennessee and Pennsylvania right now? Like, as far as investment goes, have you guys or you guys just focus mostly in Tennessee?
We sold off the last of our Pennsylvania holdings in 2021, and we did
Nice.
1031 tax deferred exchanges to acquire
Oh,
property in Tennessee.
nice. Nice. Was it easy to do that during 2021? Because I know you have a
Yeah.
time frame.
Yeah. I As a experienced realtor, I think it's simple to
Right.
sell almost anything except maybe land in Chernobyl. Yeah, we sold our Pennsylvania rental units for sale by owner,
Oh,
and
wow.
we sold them to people from other states too.
Wow.
Um,
Jeez.
and we got full price.
That's
'Cause we're
awesome.
very good at disclosing everything and providing tons of information about the property, the history of the property, and so on.
They'll let the for
Nice.
sale by owners hear that. For the context, he is a real estate agent in Pennsylvania. Like, he's not just
So
some
he
random
understands what
guy.
he's doing.
The for
Nice.
sale by
Exactly.
others, but Ty did it. I'm gonna be like, no,
Yeah,
that's
but now
not
we're
wasn't the point of
realtors.
the
Yeah.
episode. No, but it's crazy how a lot of real estate agents we talk to, right? Well, they focus on one thing. And you mentioned it. The real estate really was able to make you pivot to other areas of business. And I think that's the best part about your story. So mm, sounds like you invested and then that took you to real estate. Am I understanding that right?
That's right.
Okay.
I did not set out to say, "Hey, I wanna be a realtor." Uh,
I don't think
that
anyone
was
does
never
for
a thought
context.
in my mind. But what happened was, I my first year as a real estate investor, to educate myself, I went to the 2, courses you have to take in Pennsylvania, become a realtor. I took those courses just to learn, and then, for 3 years, I just worked with realtors to help me sell properties or buy property, and I found out that near the end of that 3 years, that if I took licensing exam, and passed, then I could, get my license. And plus, I was thinking of ways to monetize my business. And I thought, wait a minute, the buyer agent's getting 3% commission. And I know a lot about real estate thus far with all the deals I've done. Why not be my own buyer agent? So that's what I did, became my own buyer agent. And then I was like, oh, if I'm flipping houses, I might as well list my own houses for sale and save money
Mhm.
there. And then real estate investors, because we were wholesaling a lot of properties too, myself and some partners. And other real estate investors would come to us and say, "You guys have a knack for finding deals. All right. So can you also represent us in the acquisition of property, help us sell?" So I just was like, "Oh, let's do this." So that I just rolled right into it. And then I realized what's really cool is that real estate agents can make a lot of money and invest very little relative to that. You can The cost of becoming a real estate agent is very low. The
Right.
barrier to entry is low. It and it really does, you can do a lot. Um, you can make a lot of money
What
doing it.
other business can you start for 3 grand? Like, that's what I always tell
Yeah.
people.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Maybe insurance agent, maybe, but that's about it. There's even data that shows that the the 2, the 2 six-figure plus a year, income opportunities that are the lowest cost to get into are realtor and insurance agent.
did it cost you more to publish? You said 6 books now, the one you just published?
See.
Yeah, the current one that is the 6th, and yeah, writing is one of my passions, and I just do it on the side, and having passive income and also making good money from being a realtor, allows me to have the time to do the pursue passion project.
Right. That's
Oh,
awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about the last book you came out with and what it focuses on since you have
Sure.
6?
Yeah, the how to become a wealthy real estate investor. It's 101 things you need to know right now, and I wanted to create a real estate investing book that people would actually read, not just have them collect dust on the shelf.
Right.
And it's written in rule or commandment form. Basically, the chapters typically 2 to maybe 8 paragraphs max, and they're about what you should do and what you should not do. It's not just tips for real estate investors, it's tips for entrepreneurs.
mhm.
And so I get right to the point with no fluff, no
That's good.
complex math or crazy diagrams. It's just you want to be a better real estate investor no matter what stage of investing you're in. Uh, Here's what you can do, and here's what you cannot do. Get there fast.
Yeah,
That's awesome. So you go
oh,
ahead.
let me give
Go
a
ahead.
quick endorsement because, like, I am not in the real estate investing game. I'm a real estate agent through and through. I do plan on investing and starting to invest soon. And I've been masterminding with a lot of people. Coming from somebody who's inexperienced, I won't, I'll be honest, I haven't finished it yet. I'm maybe 2/3 of the way through. And so far, what I've read, it's been extremely easy to follow. So I just want to give that endorsement. So somebody like me, who I do know the home sale way, but I figured, an 18-year-old kid that really wants to get into this could probably pick up your book and learn how to invest in real estate, having no prior knowledge.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I was gonna say that I heard you say that it talks about like the good and the bad, which is good to go back and forth on both topics because a lot of people usually only talk about the good, you know. So then it gives people a perspective on how to invest and what to um what to look forward to and what mistakes not to make. So that sounds pretty cool as far as that. And from your perspective, I think it's very important because you went through a tough time. It sounds like during that 2008 period with foreclosure and whatnot. You said you even specialized, or you were forced to specialize because that was the era. Can you tell us a little bit about how 2008 was, so people can maybe compare it to what's going on right now a little bit? Can you give a perspective on that?
Sure. Yeah. To give you contrast, first I'm mentioning 2005, 2006. Bubble burst in the middle of 2006 and just
Right.
kept housing market was cratering after that. Didn't really stabilize at the end of 2011, which was generally the worst year in real estate for realtors, 2011. But 2005, 2006 were a lot like now, limited inventory and bidding wars, tons of competition, and lots of people back then were getting loans they shouldn't have. Fudging numbers, with the help of the mortgage broker sometimes, or people just giving the mortgage broker incorrect numbers about their wealth and finances and then getting loans. And so the then, as a real estate investor, we would have lots of investors coming to us in early 2006, and then the phone stopped ringing, and we were trying to flip houses into that storm, and the houses were not selling.
Mm.
So we got caught, and then we sold some houses, and I sold some houses for big losses. Like I lost $150,000 on two different deals.
You lost
That
$300,000
on
I'm over here
just two
freaking
deals.
out
Whoa, bro.
about 5,000 or something like that we have to give back in concessions, and you lost 150.
On 2
Oof.
different deals. Yeah. No, it was tough. And as a realtor, okay, 2008, 2009, 10, 11, there were sellers coming to me, and they say, "Hey, Ty, how long, if I list with you, do you think it'll sell?" And I would say, "Maybe 9 months. If we're lucky, 6 months from now,
Gotta
and it
carry
could take
that
over a year."
listing pregnancy the term.
Great. And there were times where I would not have a showing in 3 weeks to a month, and
Wow.
I
Oh
would
my
be giving
god.
updates every week to sellers and have, just telling them, "Hey, we're still trying to get a showing." And then when sellers would get a showing, I'd call them up and say, "We got a showing request," and they'd be like, "Oh my goodness, that's awesome." And it was just a different time. Um,
Yeah.
Right.
and so, yeah, it was rare that a house listed and sell that week. It was rare. And in places like the Poconos in Pennsylvania,
Mhm.
52% of all the sales were distressed sales, either pre-foreclosures and short sales or foreclosed properties. It was really tough. And it was good for investors who had capital, but banks had tightened up their lending so much that uh, investors with HELOCs, they had their HELOCs taken away.
Huh.
And uh,
Oh, jeez.
a number of yeah, in 2006, there were a record number of realtors, and then 2 years later, it was dramatically lower. Hundreds of thousands of realtors dropped out of business. So it was tough, and it's just I remember one time that the most listings I ever had at one time was 43 listings at once,
Oh, wow.
and
Oh
I
my god.
struggled to sell almost all of them.
That's crazy.
I had some closed lakefront lots that took 8 years to sell.
No.
8 years?
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah,
So how could you compare that to now? Because a lot of people have these ideas that or these perceptions that nowadays it's harder to invest or it's harder to into into real estate now because of prices and obviously interest rates play a thing in people's minds. So how do you feel about that, especially if you're in real estate? I guess you could say.
Okay. So yeah, the interest rate discussion, that's all relative. When I
Right.
first started as an investor in 2004, the first residential loan I got uh, for a duplex that I lived in one unit, rented the other out for a time, my interest rate was 6.75%, and I was
Mm.
thrilled to have it. And here's the thing for landlords, rents tend to go up when interest rates go up.
There you go.
So you think about that, even though you're paying more in interest, you can raise rents to cover that. And also, um, over time, your principal goes down, your principal balance goes up, and your mortgage balance goes down.
Mm.
And so what I mean is your equity goes up. And so your tenant is helping you pay off the mortgage. So you have to think about the long game. So many people think about the short game, and I've always wanted people leans into the long game. So what if you were to buy a property now and you plan never to sell it and you just rented it out? Oh, you're going to have positive cash flow if you buy it right, manage it right, regardless of the interest rate. And you know that over time, the loan will be paid off if you so choose. Um,
Right.
and here's the thing: I've talked to a lot of different investors of all different levels, and I know an aspiring real estate investor. In fact, I actually ran into him today. In 2019, he wanted to buy a property, he had cash, but he didn't because he was waiting for the perfect deal. 2020, he had the same amount of cash, wanted to buy, didn't buy anything. 2021, didn't buy anything. Still looking. 2022, nothing. Okay. He actually finally just bought a property. He was proud to tell me that here in 2023. So let's say you were in 2019 and you overpaid for a property. You got in a bidding war, you paid over the asking price and maybe over what it appraised for when you bought it. What's it worth now? Heck of a lot more than what you paid for it.
2020 was 16% appreciation in at least in our area, and then 18 in 2022. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
you got like 50% equity in that.
Yeah. I coach entrepreneurs and investors and agents, and something I tell them is you can't win the game unless you get in the game. And here's the thing, what
That's
something that I believe in is that you have to be willing to suck at something new. You have to be willing to make mistakes and uh, just learn enough, get the right realtor to represent you to find investment property and go do it and learn. And I also tell investors spend $100 and buy 4 or 5 investment books and read them. You'll know a lot more than many investors out there just by reading 4 or 5 investment books for hundred
yeah.
bucks. Um, it's it's about my college classmate Elon Musk. He talks about uh, setting 10-year goals and then trying to accomplish them in 6 months. And he says that very few people think 10 years out. Uh,
Yeah.
Most people are thinking they're planning for the weekend, not for 10 years from now. And the thing is, if you try to accomplish your 10-year goals in 6 months, it's going to be sloppy. It's going to be crazy. And you are unlikely to accomplish those 10-year goals in 6 months. But imagine how far along you will be. It's all about accelerate, like Elon Musk talks about it. And I live by this philosophy is accelerate your rate of learning by making more mistakes, make them faster and learn from them and also learn from the mistakes of others. And you will just reap the rewards in time, playing the long game.
Yeah.
So
Jeez.
for realtors today, a lot of realtors I know, some of them are hurting because the number of units are down. When that happens, uh, a lot of realtors will drop out of the market, and the ones that lean into lead generation and watching their costs, they will acquire more market share
Let's
and
say
come
that one
out
more
of
time again. Say that one more time
yes,
again. Repeat it.
those realtors that lean into lead generation, most notably prospect over
Yeah.
market,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and who watch their expenses like a hawk will gain more market share over time. Markets shift, as you've seen. your listeners have seen it. I've seen it. The bubble bursting, 2008 to 2011, and then recovering slowly and rapidly over time. And it was inevitable that there would have to be a pullback in number of units sold. It's inevitable that we'll shift
Love
from a seller's market to a balanced market and maybe even to a buyer's market. It's just part of the process. Just as I know that there are some rainy days,
it. Mhm.
there are some thunderstorms, and there are sunny days. There are
The
hot days.
greatest shift of market share happens in a shift. The greatest transfers of market share, like you said, the people remaining are going to come out of it owning way more market share. And they're going to not only survive but then thrive. And guess what? You never lose that market share after you gain it. So I love that. That's why I asked you to repeat it. You've said probably 5 or 6 things I want to put on t-shirts just in this one call. I love it. So something I think you did phenomenally, speaking about a shift, is you went through arguably, I can't think of many. There's obviously, it happens a lot, as you said, it shifts, even whether it's seasonal or not. I can't think of many other examples nearly as bad as 2008. In my opinion, it's one of the worst for a lot of real estate agents specifically. So the ability that you were able to pivot and shift to create other avenues and adjust to survive is amazing. So talk a little bit more about that. What went through your head when that was happening? Because a lot of people are dropping out, a lot of agents are dropping out of the business now during this shift. It's not, in my opinion, not as bad as 2008. So explain your mindset on how you were able to pivot and shift and keep yourself alive, not only alive, but thrive.
Thanks for asking the question, Mike. Yeah, there's several factors. One is,
Right.
yes, I lean toward the long game because I know that the wealthy people play the long game. You look at Warren Buffett,
Mhm.
buys, holds, and usually never sells unless the fundamentals change.
Mhm.
Been able to accomplish. Uh, so you play a long game. Elon Musk, when he was in his 20s after selling PayPal with some other guys, went to Russia to try to buy rockets to create SpaceX. And the Russians laughed at him and told him, "Little boy, get out of here." So he just went and read a bunch of books on engineering and started creating his own rockets. So playing the long game is important. Okay. I, I knew that I didn't really want a traditional job. To me, that was clear. And another part is that uh, it's basically you have to look at as a business person, you have to look at ways to monetize things. And really, what you first look at is what value can I provide to others. Uh, when you provide a tremendous amount of value to others and find a way to charge for it, people will be happy to pay. Okay, and so
The
I had
t-shirt
started
quote.
off, yeah. So I became good at finding investment deals, so other investors came to me. I'll give you a quick example. A general contractor was introduced to me through network, and he said, "I flip houses. I have a crew. I flip houses. That keeps him busy and makes me money." He says, "But I have no time to find deals. No time at all." He says, "I once went to a sheriff's sale. I look for foreclosures, and things happen so fast, and I had no clue what to bid on. And if I bid on something, it would have been a terrible mistake." So he said, "Ty, show me some deals." He ended up acquiring 6 deals from me. I made $105,000. Yeah.
Wow.
Because
Yeah.
I found the deals and then he would buy them and fix them up and flip them. So it was about providing value to investors. And then when the market shifted and lots of people were facing foreclosure, I had developed skills in trying to, when the market was still good, trying to help the few people out there avoid foreclosure because I wanted to buy those properties with my partners. And so we developed skills in negotiating with banks, how to prevent foreclosure, which is a benefit to the seller,
Yeah.
and how to buy it for less money, which is a benefit to us or to investors we work with. Okay. It's a win win. And
You
so,
saw a
uh,
gap and you saw a need and you've developed the skills to provide that. I love it.
yeah,
Adapting. Yeah.
yeah. And there was one of the fun moments where I learned to create a short sale negotiation business. There was a
Mhm.
Keller Williams agent who was representing me in a lot of my real estate investment deals. His name's Nathan Gutt. He's still at the Keller Williams Allentown office. He came to me and said, "Ty, you just bought a short sale, and I represented, but can you negotiate some short sales that my team is working on as listings? We're not skilled at negotiating short sales. Can you do it for a fee?" So that forced me to think, how could I do that? How can I charge a person who's facing foreclosure a fee to negotiate a short sale to help them avoid foreclosure, so their house can be sold with dignity, and so perhaps an investor or a move-in home buyer can get it. I learned pretty quickly that the people facing foreclosure didn't have a lot of money, so we
Mhm.
came up with an idea to charge a $3,500 fee that the buyer would pay at closing if we negotiate a short sale that they bought. Okay, and so that was just a typical closing cost, not unlike a title, insurance, or something like that. So we just charged 3,500, and then I hired 4 virtual assistants in the Philippines, plus several virtual assistants in the United States, and they started negotiating like crazy. I built great manuals and things like that. Went to a bunch of real estate offices, you name it, Century 21, Keller Williams, Berkshire Hathaway, uh, private, smaller mom and pop firms, and we became their partner in negotiating short. They would send us all their short sales, basically. So we monetize that. And also, as a real estate agent, there's ways to make money too, because there were some realtors who said, listen, I don't want to deal with the short sale. Can you just list it? Give me a referral fee. And so then I could charge the fee for the negotiating to the buyer, plus get the listing commission and control the deal a little better. So I did that. And it's just, I found other ways to partner. I partnered with Keystone Partners Group, the parent company of a bunch of Keller Williams in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, create a short sale company that I and my partner ran. And they were part. They would help promote it. Uh, it was it was all about how can we add value to others and monetize it. At a certain point, though, I realized that the short sales were dying down. I watched my numbers because something else an entrepreneur should do is fanatically measure results. And we went in 2013, and I remember numbers very well. People say, my wife says I have a photographic memory with things like that. In 2013, we closed 116 short sales. Okay, in 6 states. In 2014, we closed 71. So I realized that short sales were dying down. So I
Mhm.
pivoted and I got out of that business. I gave my shares of the company to my business partner, and it still runs, um, and just pivoted to do other things.
That's crazy. Wow.
Wow. So I was expecting Will to ask a question there, but I'll go again. Yeah, I think you left him speechless, Ty.
I
Um,
can't believe it. It's crazy.
I see why I wanted to have him on. It's
Yeah.
nuts. So that's a lot about your past, right? Where are you now, and where do you want to go? I'm sure that's more exciting for you than your past.
Thank you for asking. Yes. So where are we now? My wife and I receive, and I say this not to impress you, but to impress upon you that this is real and possible for realtors, for real estate investors, and for other self-employed people and entrepreneurs. My wife and I receive 5 figures a month in passive income. We get paid more than our lifestyle expenses every month when we don't work. So you can imagine how much we make when we do work. And so we work with who we want, when we want, where we want. And I don't take every listing. I don't take on every buyer. We are actively looking for more investment properties locally, plus the property in Florida. I'm working on a couple more books. One is going to be titled "How to Become a Wealthy Real Estate Agent: 101 Things You Need to Know Right Now," and the other is "How to Become a Wealthy Real Estate." How to Become a Wealthy Entrepreneur: 101 Things You Need to Know Right Now. So I'm doing that. Uh, New business venture that I'm leaning into, and you have to be. You heard me say, be brave enough to suck at something new.
Mhm.
I have a website called investandtransform.com for real estate investors. Investandtransform.com, and I
Investandtransform.com. Okay.
yes. Yep, investandtransform.com.
Put that in the
And
show notes if you want to head to it. Also a link to his newest book.
cool, thank you. And so what I'm trying to do, and I stink at it right now, is monetize content creation. Create videos, create books, create create things like that, and get YouTube advertising and other things. So I'm on. I'm working on all those things. That's adventurous for me because I'm not good at it, and I'm getting
Hey,
better
look,
though.
we're doing the same thing right now.
Yeah,
That's
we're
funny.
Yeah,
We
you're
suck
creating
at it
content.
too. There's
Yeah, you're adding value, and yeah, That's you make incremental improvement. And so
1%
doing
better every
that,
day.
yeah. And I spend a lot of time with my family, my wife and Mary, my girls, Alexis and Ashley. Like this morning, we got up early and it's their first full day of kindergarten. So I just went there,
Oh,
you know,
Oh,
yeah.
got them on the bus for the first time. Went to the school because they had coffee and fruit for the parents. Just hung out and you networked with some of the other parents, of course, mentioning we're in real estate. And then I went to the gym because I can, and just that what we're doing is living a very blessed and full life right
you live
now.
a
And
life by design, not by default. Right?
that's
So
right.
I, I think it's nuts. It's not bragging at all. It actually is why I like am attracted to like trying to hang around you and talk to you all the time. 6 figures a month, man. That's insane. So theoretically, you and your wife could retire right now, not work a single day in your life ever again. Is that what you're saying?
It's 5 figures a month, 6 figures a year. If I
That's what I
let me
meant. Sorry.
5 figures a month, six
Six.
figures a year in passive income.
Yeah, that's
And
what I meant to say. Apologies.
yeah,
But
yeah,
that's a life-changing amount. I agents thrive to do that actively. Imagine making that passively, how your life would look. What explain like what are I mean, you touched on it a little bit with going to kindergarten. Like how does that impact your guys' life? Like what are things you can do because of that that you wouldn't be able to otherwise?
yeah. Pressure. There's a lot less pressure. Okay, we need some pressure in our lives, especially ambitious people.
Yeah.
You want some pressure, whether from yourself or from outside force, but you don't want it to be debilitating, uh, and crippling. Okay, and so we're able to go on vacation with. It's here's where it shows up too. Mira's grandmother is 96 and a half years old, and she needs family care from time to time. And sometimes she just needs a loved one to sit near her and talk with her. And she's here in Knoxville. And so what happens is Mira can go, or we can go as a family and just visit her when she needs us, on short notice, oftentimes. And that's that. We just free to
Wow.
do that. There are other family members who have a 9 to 5 job. And when Mira's grandmother needs help from the family, some of them are more limited in times they can go and care for her. They're limited. Maybe they can only go on weekends or whatever. So
Yeah.
we have freedom. And I want to share for your listeners and your viewers is that 10 years ago, I was middle six figures in debt, and all of my debt was defaulted. There was a day 10 years ago where I had $1 to make it through the entire day. I did not eat breakfast, and I thought this $1 that I have, I'm gonna go to the Burger King near me, and I'm gonna get one of those $1 burgers, and that'll be the food for the rest of the day. And so I figured I'll eat it in the middle of the day, so I'm not that hungry, and then I'll just go to sleep slightly hungry instead of really hungry. And when I was at the drive-through actually with this, it was loose change. It was not even a $1 bill. My hand hit the ledge and I dropped some of the change on the street. And I apologized to the cashier. I said, "Do you want me to get out and get it?" She's like, "No, honey, don't worry about it." So
That
yeah, I
It's
people,
crazy the things that, like, stick in your brain because I have a couple stories like that too. It's nuts that, like, those are the things you remember. That
yeah,
would make you who you are today, because
yeah.
if you didn't go through that, you wouldn't have. It sounds like I could hear it, like in your voice. You're very appreciative of where you're at now, despite all the difficulties that you've been through. And a lot of people don't, like you said, a lot of people are in it for the short term because they want that dopamine right away. When you could have that dopamine 10 years later, which is wild. Ah, dude, you gave me goosebumps.
yeah. People tend to overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year, and they grossly underestimate what they can accomplish in 10 years.
Love it. You get, and again, we're real estate office company agnostics on this podcast, but I just want to say what it was Gary Keller who said, if you're willing to put in the work now, you can be anywhere you want to be in 5 years, whether no matter who you are or what you have working against you, anybody you want, anything and anywhere you want in 5 years. Yeah,
That's
so
right.
Ty is a perfect example of that. Going from dropping change in not being able to pay for his meal, his $1 at Burger King to being able to, I'm sure you could go to any restaurant you want and buy whatever you want now,
Yeah,
dude. Whew.
crazy.
Yeah, we're
I mean,
we're blessed. I thank God for all the opportunities, and yeah, I just there were a lot of days when I was so broke, and that was not a problem you can that broke. It's not a problem you can fix overnight. I did not play the lottery because I just was like, I don't want to, I didn't see that as a good investment. And I just thought, okay, if I can get myself into this mess, I can get myself out. I am a really good negotiator, so I'm not going to declare. I declared to myself that I would not declare bankruptcy, and that I would not allow a property be foreclosed. And I actually even came a property I sold in 2021 from Pennsylvania. I came about 5 days away from the sheriff's sale with it, but I negotiated my way out of it, and then made money on it. Oh, what is it? Made money on 7 years later, I sold it, you
Wow.
know?
So it's
I
kind of
just
like what you said at the beginning. If you don't know anything, don't be scared to jump in front of it. And a lot of people, they're usually scared of that. And not only that, you put yourself in a corner and then you climb your way out. And that's where you learn the most, more than anything, more than, more than what anybody can physically tell you. And that's super powerful. I'm blown away. My mouth's been open
yeah.
this whole time.
when I was broke, I would tell myself, "A man finds out how much he's worth when he has no money." I
Did you come
I
up with that, or where's that quote from? Or did
These quotes are great.
dude, this guy's like a freaking walking fortune cookie. I love it. We're running a little bit low on time. Is there any other questions you wanted to bring up, Will, before we do some closing?
No,
Or
no, everything's been great. I mean, I learned a lot on this. I'll probably go get the book for sure. Do you know where we could get it at? Is it
It's on
is
Amazon.com, so just go to Amazon.
make
okay,
sure
cool.
to, I have to leave. That's what my one thing to end today. I'm making sure I'm leaving you that review. You asked me a couple days ago and I haven't got around to it. I'm doing it to this afternoon.
Right.
So yeah, if there's no further questions, I mean, Ty, you're speaking to your past self 10 years ago, that guy who just ate his one and only meal for the day at Burger King. What would you tell him right now?
Great question. I would say, keep going. You can do anything for 15 seconds. Just keep stacking 15 seconds at 15 seconds. Make one more call. Just keep finding a way. I'll say this: find the value in yourself, and then find the value in every opportunity around you. Then find a way to monetize the value you create for others, and they will be happy to pay you money when you give them value in return. And I've, I would, I am just thinking about, what I was doing 10 years ago. I had my doubts and I was pretty beaten down at times, but I also knew that play that long, just keep going. There is a way. And yeah, for a realtor, think about this. If you have a job and you go to your boss and say, "Boss, next year I want to earn twice as much money as I did this year." Boss will probably laugh and say, you get a 2% raise like everyone else. But if you are a realtor and you want twice as much money next year as this year, there's a path to do it. So
Yeah.
you just do it, and
Or an
you can double it again the
investor?
following.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
that's insane. Yeah, I love it. I could keep going. I don't know about you, Will. I could keep going for hours of this
Yeah,
conversation.
we're getting warmed up. It was nice, and then he got like
Uh,
really with the quotes, and then now it's just hard to stop.
yeah, we'll definitely have to, especially when the book for real estate agents, the wealthy real estate agent comes.
Yeah,
But
we
we'll
gotta
have to
talk
have
more.
you back on. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're welcome on anytime you want, man.
Thank you, guys.
Telling
we
you, walk.
appreciate it. We really do.
All right, I'll close us out, Will.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening to us today. If you have any questions for us at all, reach out to us, and we'll put this on YouTube. Where else? Spotify is it, and Apple.
Anywhere that you can listen to
Anywhere that you
podcasts.
listen to. So if you want to listen to it or watch it, you can watch it as well. Ty's book, you can find it on Amazon. Can you drop the name for me there, Mike?
Oh, you can find it on Amazon. It is How to Become a Wealthy Real Estate Investor. And is it on the website you talked about, the
Yes,
investing?
investandtransform.com. It's on
Trans-
there.
I will make
Awesome.
sure that the link and everything is in his in the show notes. And Ty, if there's, you mentioned you do coaching. If anybody had a question for you or want to talk about coaching, how do they reach out to you?
Oh, okay. My email is Tai Desa, TAIDESA at kw.com.
Okay.
Okay. And or they can go to investandtransform.com and then there's a phone number there, or you can
Mhm.
email straight from the website. And what I do for folks is first hour is free. Okay.
Wow.
And way I coach is no contracts. It's you for as much as little as you like. Um, I'm currently charging $100 an hour, and it's just I want to add value to people, and so that's first hour is free.
Awesome.
Nice.
Appreciate it. And I hope everybody has a great day. Make sure you like and subscribe. And if you're listening on Spotify or podcast, please leave a rating. Have a great day.
Take care.
Take care.